So Kshitij is CISO as well as cybersecurity business owner for Netgain Cloud. We started working with Kshitij and his team more than 2 years back. And just to give everybody perspective, Kshitij have an environment with many customers, like multiple hundreds of customers out there. And his environment ingest more than million events per second. I mean, million events per second. His sustains looks like all the time is like 600 plus 600K, 625K events per second. So you guys can understand the kind of the scale he has. And one of the things I wanted to point out that this is a leader who has worked for a big organization uh, and doing their cybersecurity as well as starting his own cybersecurity business. When he came to us, he was just looking from the CISO perspective, and then after starting with us, he took it to like, okay, I want to extend it not only this solution into my cloud, but to the my end customer, those hundreds of customer plus new customers, to take advantage of the comprehensive cybersecurity solution he has built. And I'll tell you that he is just somebody which I always look forward to having a conversation, because each time you discuss with him, you will learn something from him. Sometimes those communications or those discussion may not be something you always want to be like jolly and happy discussion, because sometimes he will give you like, hey, these are the things has to be, or these are the things are not as good as I like to be, and all that. And those are the good conversation as a cybersecurity company leader you want to have, because you don't want to be just hearing that everything is rosy and jolly and all that in there. You want to hear that, hey, what are the next thing you have to do? So he's one of those. And one thing I do want to point out, when he deployed the solution to the any customer, even for himself plus any customer, what Keith was talking about, those best, better, good, he always start with the best. He want to make sure that the telemetries are coming in. He does a regular health check on all of those, whether his client, his own clients, or he is doing into his customer client. He is doing the regular health check at a at the minimum like monthly basis. And he is always focused on, because not having the more kind of a product is, so his stack consolidation is something, is his vision has been for the like day one, since I spoke with him, and he's doing that. And his whole view is, hey, if I want to deliver his services to customers, he already have more than few dozen customers now. But his view is, I want to give you comprehensive visibility, proactive detection as well as protection. What does it mean, proactive protection? If I saw something somewhere, let's make sure it is already proactively taken care, so we don't have to worry about to see it into the other place and kind of like take care of that. And then the compliance, because all of his customers, whether they are in the healthcare, whether they are in the finance or legal, very much compliance heavy. So he has to kind of like make sure the continuous compliance is part of the like offering from the day one. With that, I cannot say enough about him, because as I mentioned that I always look forward. If I have my choice, I will have him come to my office every Friday afternoon. But he does not want to come, because he's so busy doing his work, and he has a lot on his plate. But I do get chance to have him in the office time to time, and each time I get a lot of like great ideas, and what are the things we have to improve upon, and what are the things we are going to innovate next, and all that. So with that, I will hand it over to Keith. I hand over to Kshitij sir to talk about himself a little bit, as well as what he is driving from his side into all the customers he has already onboarded and he is kind of going after. So, Kshitij sir, take it over.
Oh, thank you, Chandra. I think that was a great introduction. Very kind. I'll just start talking a little bit about myself. So I'm Kshitij Kathuria. I also go by KK in case it's not too easy to say my name. I'm the CISO here at Netgain Technology. We're a managed service provider. We specialize in IT and cloud solutions for mid-market, specifically for healthcare and fintech organizations. We're based out of Minneapolis, Minnesota. I've spent over 20 years working at the intersection of security, compliance, and the cloud infrastructure, specifically helping highly regulated clients staying both secure and operational. Uh, Here at Netgain, what we've done is we've led the transformation of our security program from a reactive tool, which was, to a more unified AI-driven model through our Nexus 360 XDR service. Um, and I just today I'm very excited to share how we use automation, we use AI and strategic partnerships like the one with Seceon to deliver enterprise-grade protection at MSP scale. So as Chandra mentioned, we deal with clients in very highly regulated industries like healthcare and fintech, where both uptime and data protection are really mission critical. So when I joined Netgain, we made the decision to treat security, not just as a compliance requirement, but more as a business enabler. So what we've done is we've invested in building a modern, resilient security architecture. We've hired a strong security team and implemented a robust EDR and telemetry sources, right? So we're adopting what we call security by design philosophy across our managed environments, all this while implementing the defense in depth model across all layers of the infrastructure. So whether it's the network and perimeter, the endpoint, the application, the data layer, and governance, right? All of that, we follow the defense in depth model. With over 2 decades of experience in MSP and cloud infrastructure, especially in complex compliance-heavy environments, I think I understood that securing diverse client environments at scale isn't really sustainable with traditional tools, and that's where our partnership with Seceon kind of came in.
Thanks, Kshitij. Thanks a lot. And as you guys can understand, Kshitij, any cybersecurity tool you can imagine, Kshitij either have a direct experience with those, either using them directly into his team, or he has evaluated them as well. So, and one of the things I'll say when it comes to the AI, I mean, today everybody is talking AI, which is mostly we are talking about is like, Gen AI and all that. Seceon started with the domain specific AI, which is self-learning into your environment and putting the context and situational awareness across all of your telemetry. So that something was, domain specific for the cybersecurity. Gen AI as well as agentic AI, they also have a role to play into how the cybersecurity services are getting delivered today. So that's where we introduce Sarah AI, as well as, Miss further triaging and all that. We are kind of like an agentic AI. Sarah AI is going to have agentic as well as Gen AI into there together. And then our domain specific AI has been always in the place. And one of the things I do want to point out, because Kshitij, it was probably last year towards October, November, he came in, he spent a day into our office. And at that time, he was the driving force behind it. He discussed that, hey, look, see, your Gen AI as well as, it's like agentic AI, you cannot scale those to the domain specific AI in the real time and all that, what we have been doing, nobody can do it because it cannot take that kind of a data. Think about that. If he has a million events per coming per second, and if you have to do those through any one of those tool into like in the real time, forget it. It's not going to happen. But what he pointed out is like, hey, we already have a lot of those things already done, cooked, and then we can take a lot of those, like, cooked stuff in there, and we can make it like, combination and say, hey, what is the best and all that. So those things were kind of like, driving force in our mind to what we are kind of like, have evolved Sarah AI into it. So just kind of like once again, I want to point out that there are three types of AI are in the action into the Seceon platform. So that you have domain specific AI, which is at very high scale. You cannot do those with any of the agentic AI or it's like AI which comes from the Gen AI, because if you send all those kind of telemetry, it will just crash and burn, and you will have so much cost you can't believe it. The other thing is you have agentic AI and then you have a Gen AI, which are agentic and Gen AI are there to help make sure you get to the decision point. You make it simpler for the not only cybersecurity experts or the operators who are running the SOC to kind of get to the decision, understand it, but communicate really well with the educators. What Keith was just talking about it. And I just want to point out that, Kshitij has been a big driving force uh, behind those things in there. So I will love Kshitij to add some of the things, from the AI side, what is going on and how he is kind of like, already leveraging some of those things. Okay, Kshitij, please go ahead, sir.
Yeah, so look, at the MSP level, right? We're not just dealing with one environment, right? It's not just one environment that we're protecting. We're managing dozens of client ecosystems, each with its own compliance mandates, their different operating hours and threat models. Just as an example, our healthcare clients can't afford any downtime, right? And need to be in compliance with the likes of HIPAA and high tech, right? Our fintech clients face massive seasonal pressures, especially during tax season, right? And are regulated by the likes of GLBA, IRS, FTC safeguards, right? Yet they all need that 24/7, 365 protection. So, before adopting AI, our analysts were spending hours correlating alerts manually, right? We struggled with tool sprawl, inconsistent postures, and really trying to prove what is that return on investment. I think we're partnering with Seceon and using Secion's AI first platform changed that for us a little bit. Now we're able to ingest data from, pretty much any source that we want, right? We're ingesting data from EDRs, from firewalls, from Microsoft 365, from Entra ID, any cloud app, you just name it, right? And we're able to ingest that data. And the good thing is that we're able to act on it in real time with automated correlation, right? With actionable alerts. Um, in fact, we were recently at the Gartner Risk and Security Conference, and the buzzword there is AI. Every session that I attended was, I mean, I'd be shocked if it did not have AI in it. And that was to be expected. But now, with AI and security tools is a given. Now, companies are working on security of the AI model itself to make sure that does not become compromised or does not become an attack vector for bad actors. So I think the bottom line, in my opinion, is that MSPs that don't embed AI into their security stack are going to lose clients to those who do, right? So if we don't, it's no longer optional. It's fundamental to the survival and growth, of an MSP. And for us, I think the biggest operational shift came when we deployed Secion's platform across the Nexus 360 XDR stack. That's our XDR service. Before Seceon, as I mentioned, tool sprawl. We had multiple tools per client. Our analysts were buried in alerts and manual investigations. Incident response was more reactive, and our SOC was stretched thin. We were using a traditional SIM platform. We were building dashboards. We were trying to build our own correlation rules. But after Seceon, we've really gained a unified pane of glass for threat detection, enrichment, response. Our MTTR has definitely dropped, a lot. I would say over 70%. Our security team, without growing the headcount, now protects many more clients effectively than we ever did before. Sorry, go ahead, Chandra. You want
No, I was just going to say, because if you look into the some of the things I have heard over the some period of time, and you
right?
guys are hearing from the Kshitij, it's like basically it says like security with the intelligence, not the noise. It's like from 1 billion events to few critical events, like 10 critical incident, and you are doing it more and more automatically. You don't want to be dealing with all of those things in there, reducing your noise to it's like insight ratio, and you fix those forever. You don't want to be just fixing it for once. So as I also mentioned, that this is somebody, like, let's say if we have kind of to make an improvement, he's a vocal about it. He will talk about that, hey, I need these things in there, and I love that. It's like, look, I love that, because that drives the innovation. Because what he's doing is he's kind of not only making life better for his team to reduce that, means 1 billion events are trillions, he gets trillions of event to like a few incidents which he is able to take care immediately, his team is able to take care. But because of his drive, it makes it better for our mission. Because Seceon mission is, hey, we want to empower our partners to deliver the cyber security to customers of any size at a affordable prices. And if you have too much noise, you cannot make it affordable for many company out there. Everybody will go after only the big companies who has a lot of budget in there, but who's going to cover all those smaller company. And one of the most critical part I do want to emphasize, as he pointed out, the healthcare. Healthcare never sleep. That's right. And the whole goal is from his team as well as Seceon team is make sure those lifesavers, they focus on their job and we focus on protecting their environment, so they do not have a downtime, as he pointed out. And that is some of the things I want to emphasize, that look, healthcare provider, let them focus on their core competency, and we take care of their environment so they don't have to go down and put a lot of life at the risk. And this is a real problem. And we are very lucky, because one thing I do wanted to share, that one of the CIO, he has written a book that how he transformed his hospital. It's around 10,000 professionals, doctors, nurses, and all that in the big hospital out over here in New Jersey. How he transformed their cybersecurity and IT together using the Seceon kind of platform, and they build the people processes and everything around it to ensure that the delivery of the services is much more better. And he put a quantifiable, not only from IT and cybersecurity, but how much impact he made in the delivery of the services, those healthcare services to the end customer. So I just wanted to kind of share that whatever some of the things what KK was talking about, that has been put into the real practice, and the real business outcomes are seen out there, and those has gone into a real book as well. So KK, you want to add some additional stuff?
Yeah, I mean, specifically for healthcare, right? I mean, all hospitals which are out there, or even small co-ops, right? They're not tech savvy, they're not security savvy. Yet, healthcare remains the largest sector where data breaches happen, right? There's compliance and regulation, which is HIPAA and high tech, which is to be honest, they're archaic right now. The requirements that they have, right? Can you imagine that even in today's day and age, HIPAA and high tech does not specifically require you to have multi-factor authentication when logging into your environment, right? I mean, that is just unbelievable, right? Unheard of. And yet, our clients, these are healthcare organizations. They go year in and year out and comply with HIPAA, right, without actually having MFA, right? So I think you and Keith talked about educating clients. I think that is another thing which we do, is educate our clients, right? We look at their security posture. We look at where they are today and where they can go, and how they can improve their security posture using, our XDR service, of course, partnering with Seceon, right? So that's a key element to what we do today. I mean, a simple thing, right? A small co-op hospital, like just a recent example, where an executive's mailbox was compromised, right? Business email compromised the single largest threat vector over the last year and a half, right? We were able to pick that up, via impossible travel alerts, right? And we were able to block the bad actor, right, before they could start using that mailbox, as a bot to send that information and do any kind of damage. So, I think education is extremely important, right? We can adopt AI, all we want. At the end of the day, if the client is not educated enough to understand the value they're getting or the protection that they're getting as a result of what we're doing for them, I think it all goes to waste.
Yeah, thank you, KK. It's really appreciate you joining it and sharing your a lot of insight as well as it's like experience. So thank you so much.